Lemonada.
Hello and welcome to This Life of Mine. This is the show where our incredible guests pick the places, people, possessions, music and memories that have made them who they are. And what a guest we have today. Joining me is an actor with an extraordinary career who's starred in over 80 movies. Her range of work is vast, it's always interesting. It includes classics like Magnolia, Boogie Nights, Hannibal, The Hunger Games, The Big Lebowski, and of course her role in Still Alice, for which she won the Academy Award. Today, she's playing herself. However, there is one line we will need her to deliver. Is she capable? Let's find out. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Do it.
I'm Julianne Moore. Welcome to This Life of Mine.
I mean, it couldn't be better. It couldn't be better.
It could be better. Everything could always be better.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm very happy
I'm
to be
so
here
happy
too.
to talk to you because I've been reading about you a lot, and I never knew of your Scottish heritage.
I know. You know, I have a UK passport.
Well, I know this also.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where does this come from? Your mother's side?
My mother immigrated to the United States when she was 10 years old. She came with her parents and her little brother, who was just a year old at the time. And they came to Burlington, New Jersey. And when she came, I think back, it would have been 1950, and they asked her if she wanted citizenship, and she said no, because she was going to go back.
Right.
Anyway, so she didn't go back. She met my father in high school, and they got married and had children very quickly. And she became a citizen, finally an American citizen, when she was 27. I would have been 6 or 7. And she came home holding a little American flag, crying.
Oh.
She was so, because they made her renounce her British citizenship back in the day. So when I was actually talking to Liam Neeson and Ralph Fiennes. We were having dinner one night, and they were talking about some EU project they were doing, and they changed all the rules about citizenship. It used to be only from your paternal line.
Right.
And they had just recently changed it, so it was through your maternal line. So I spoke to my mother and decided to apply. And I was in the process of applying for this, and then she died suddenly. Well, shoot, I'll probably cry. So it became kind of more urgent, right?
Have you spent much time there in Scotland?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I went back with my mother. We visited some aunts of hers that lived in Dunoon. We went to Greenock. That's where she was from. I've been to Edinburgh, but I haven't spent a lot of time.
Do you know what this is? How would you pronounce this drink that's in front of you?
I don't know, but I think I've had it.
How would you pronounce
it?
That's exactly right.
Einbrü. Yeah.
This is really, I think...
It's really awful.
It's
really awful.
Have you ever tried it?
I believe I have.
Have you tried Einbrü? Would you like to try a tiny bit today?
Can I tell you a story about my aunts?
You're going to say, can I say fuck off?
No, but I have to tell you a story about my aunts. My aunts Sissy and May, who lived in Dunoon, who were elderly, and we were visiting, and kind of taking care of them and stuff. And my Aunt Sissy did the shopping every day. And she said, Anne, what does Julie like to drink? And I had said, well, I like to have orange juice and stuff. But Sissy, I don't think she knew about orange juice, but this is what she brought home.
My hunch is this is the last time you're going to try Einbrü.
No, this is the last time. But I am familiar with this because my Aunt Sissy brought this home in lieu of orange juice because she thought I meant Einbrü.
Raise a glass to Aunt Sissy.
That's right.
To Aunt Sissy.
To Aunt Sissy.
There we go. A lovely glass of Einbrü.
Einbrü.
You've given us some wonderful selections for your picks today.
Okay.
I'm excited to talk about them.
Yeah.
We're going to start with place.
Boy, this is so hard. I tried to think of something that was consistent for me growing up and it's consistent now. And so I chose libraries because, as I said, my parents were married very young and they moved around a lot because my father was in the army. And so there wasn't a lot of consistency from place to place. You're always in a different base. You know, they didn't have a lot of money. But one of the things that my mother always did was bring us to libraries. So I read when I was very young. I really remember reading. I loved reading. I loved going to libraries. You know, it's a place of like learning. It's a place that is communal, but also private. Do you know?
I know exactly what you
mean.
If I'm honest, it's one of those things where when I saw it on your list, I thought, oh, and then actually reading about quite how much you moved around with your father moving to different military bases, it makes complete sense to me, because also what a lot of people forget, and I think this perhaps resonates more with me now, because I've just moved my family from one country to another, that what you don't do is carry with you hundreds of books. So actually, it makes complete sense to me that this would be a place which is very grounding for you.
It was. And also because I was a kid that wasn't a sporty kid. I'm not athletic at all. I didn't have a tremendous number of hobbies, but I love to read. And like reading is something that you can take with you everywhere. And so you'd go to a new place. I wouldn't know anybody, but I could go to the library and check out 10 books and read them. And I think that it was what brought me into acting, frankly, because it's just a deep imaginary world. There's all this possibility there. And then when you think about that placement of it, that there's actually a building that's devoted to that, to kind of holding those ideas, those objects, and those people, the people that kind of enter into it. I don't know. It was really, you know, something that's special and formative. And like I said, going back to that idea of something being private but communal.
Is it true that because I've read this about you, and I if it was anyone else, I wouldn't believe it. Is it true that you read every script that gets sent to you, or is that just a myth that got spread on the internet?
It was true. To be honest with you, it was true.
But now there's just so many scripts.
I think that it's not that. But I think I needed to know, you know, I needed to read absolutely everything, because I needed to know whether or not it was something I wanted to do or not. I think now that I've had more experience, I can read a few pages sometimes and look at something and go, But I used to read them all the way through, because I thought, well, maybe it'll change and maybe I'll see something, and I really needed to. It was a way to hone my taste, I think.
Has there ever been a script you've passed on that then you've seen come to light and you've gone, oh, I didn't realise it would look like that? I'm not asking you for a role, but has there been?
No.
Okay.
But I think one of the things that did happen to me a long, long time ago was that there was a script that kind of came my way. Somebody didn't send it to me. They said, oh, I don't think this is for you. And it turned out it was a Patty Chayefsky script. And right. I was like, ugh. So that really made me realize, oh, I need to look at everything. Like I have to.
Let's move on to a memory that you've chosen for us. Tell us what it is. Tell us the memory.
It's about the year that we lived in Juneau, Alaska, which was in 1971. We moved there.
So how old would you have been when you lived in Juneau? So you were 10.
I was 10, so I was going to the 5th grade. And we'd been living, my dad, after Vietnam, got out of the Army, and we went to Nebraska, where he went to college and then law school. And then he applied for a couple of jobs, and there was a job offer that he really liked in Chicago. And there was a job offer that he really liked in Juneau, Alaska. And we visited both places. And then my father decided we were all moving to Juneau, Alaska.
I mean, they feel very different.
They were very different.
You couldn't be further apart, really, I guess, in terms of just the landscape, everything.
Right. And in 1971, Juneau, Alaska was not what it is now. You know, it was very landlocked. I think at the time, you could only go in and out by boat. They had a very small airport, but there weren't like big planes that went in. So we took a ferry. We came in on a ferry. It's a very, very small town, and it was so exotic. It was the first time in my life that I went somewhere that felt like so utterly different than what I'd experienced before in the United States.
Was this a place you were nervous about moving to, worried about moving? Were you excited to move to Juneau?
You know, I think when you're really young, you don't have a lot of thought. You know, you just kind of go, right? You know, I think I was still young enough, so I was like, well, we're just going to go. I think I was excited by the idea that there's something exotic about it, but I don't know that I was prepared for how different it would feel, how much it would appear different, just the geography of it, the mountains and the trees and the people. One of the first things that my mother did was sign my sister and I up for a summer course. It was actually a course for Native kids. It was a course for Inuit kids and Tlingit kids. And my sister and I got there, and we were the only Caucasian kids in this place. And everybody was kind of like, what are these two girls doing here? Yeah. But it was amazing because it was all kind of Native. We went berry picking, and we, wove our own belts, and we dyed them, and we made whale blubber bubble gum, and we planted, and we smoked fish. And we did all of this this crazy stuff. And I had a tremendous amount of freedom. I would take the bus to the movies every Saturday by myself.
Well, that was what I was going to ask. Yeah. I was going to say, what is there for an 11-year-old to do in Juneau?
Yeah, and looking back, this is another thing that really kind of shaped who I am as an actor and my cinematic taste, even though I didn't know it at the time, because it was such a small town. They changed the movie every week. So you might have a really hot week where Aristocats was playing or something, and everybody's really excited. So the whole town would rush to see this, Disney film. But then you'd have a weekend where it was a Cassavetes film. I saw Minnie and Moskowitz when I was 10, 11. But just this idea of being able to get on a bus and go somewhere and come back by yourself and wander around town. And the weather was so severe, so severe. It was the worst winter they'd had there since 1917. So the snow was on the ground until Mother's Day at the end of May. It was not an ideal place for our family. My mother hated it, but it was, you just don't know what's out there, right? Until you see it, until you're living in it. So it sort of reshaped my idea of what the world was.
Because it wasn't long after that you moved to Germany.
Yeah.
And am I right in thinking it was around that time that you started to feel like you wanted to act?
From Juneau, we moved back to the lower 48, as they call them. So my father was working in New York City, and we were in Westchester. We were there for a couple of years. And then my father went back into the Army, and we were stationed in Northern Virginia. And so we were there for 3 years. And then we moved to Germany. It was probably when I was in Virginia, and my friend Chris Jebsen and I tried out for the drill team and didn't make it. We tried out for cheerleading. We didn't make it. We couldn't make anything, the two of us. They took 50 girls in drill team, and they didn't take us. So it was I know, yeah. So we both tried out for the play. And I had always done little...
They took you because there was no one left. Everybody else was in the drill team.
Exactly. Yeah. But I got the lead in this play. And suddenly I was succeeding, where I wasn't succeeding when I tried out for things where I had to march or cheer. And it felt to me, kind of back to the library thing too, that it was just like reading aloud. I didn't understand why it was something that would seem challenging. And then that's when I started realizing that not everybody felt that way about it. So I continued doing the plays, and then we moved to Germany and, went to the drama club and went to see what plays they were doing after school. And I auditioned for, there was this woman there named Roby Taylor, and they were doing Tartuffe, which I'd never heard of. I'd never heard of Moliere. Yeah. So I was and she said, why don't you try out for the part of the ingenue, the part Marianne? And I said, I don't want to play that part. I don't think that's an interesting part. I want to play Doreen, who's she's the maid. She's sort of the voice of reason. And I really argued very strongly about why I wanted to play that part. And then I did it. And at the end of it, she said, I think you're really good at this. I think you can do this for a living. And I was like, huh. But she said, here's a copy of Dramatics magazine. And she goes, there's some schools in here. Why don't you take a look at these schools? And I came home and, put the magazine on the table and said to my parents, I'm going to be an actor.
And what did they say?
They were like, no. And my mother was, she said, oh, you're so smart, Julie. Don't do that. It's a waste.
When was the moment that they changed, that the penny dropped and they thought, oh, hang on, she's really good and I think this is going to be okay?
I think...
When you won the Oscar.
Well, I think what it was really, they were so, like I said, they worked hard to get where they were. And they basically, it was that kind of thing where your parents tell you, you can do anything you want. You can be anything you want because it's possible. So I think they were able to say, okay. Because I said, listen, I want to, I said, why don't if I audition for these schools for college, if I get in, I can go. I said, if I don't get in, I'll just go to a liberal arts school.
Yeah.
And they were like, that's fair. And I auditioned for Carnegie Mellon and BU, and then I got into both.
Well, thank God you did.
Ah, you're nice.
I don't know about you, but when you're looking to hire new people for your workforce, finding great candidates can feel a bit like looking for a needle in a haystack. You get too many resumes, or not enough resumes, or not enough candidates with the right skills or experience, but not with ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter finds amazing candidates for you, and they find them fast. And right now, you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/lifeofmine. ZipRecruiter's smart technology identifies top talent for your roles quickly, immediately after you post your job. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology will start showing you qualified people for it. ZipRecruiter lets you connect with top candidates as soon as possible. You can use ZipRecruiter's pre-written invite to apply message to personally reach out to your favorite candidates and encourage them to apply sooner. It's time to ditch the other hiring sites and let ZipRecruiter find exactly what you're looking for, the needle in the haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free at this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/lifeofmine. Again, that's ziprecruiter.com/lifeofmine. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Let's move to your wildcard choice. And we asked you for a film, which I've been intrigued to know what film you would pick.
Yeah.
Tell us the film you chose.
Robert Altman's Three Women.
Why?
Oh, God, that movie. I mean, like I said, I don't think I realized that I love movies. I didn't really understand that going to the movies every week when I was 10 or being interested in old movies on television or any of that really meant anything. And even when I started studying acting, you're working on theater, you're working on plays. So I wasn't really thinking about what cinema was in relationship to that. Things came together for me slowly. Sure. But I used to, when I was in Boston, when I was at BU, those are the days when there were these revival houses everywhere. And I would go to the movies and same thing, see whatever was playing. And you'd see some crazy things. I remember I saw a double bill of Straw Dogs and Emmanuel once. Right. It was like, okay, whatever.
The film came out in 1977.
Yeah.
Shelley Duvall, Sissy Spacek.
Janice Rule. Yep.
I love it. It's so beautiful. And that's my bed, and that's your bed. This is my bed. Oh, Millie. I love it. I couldn't have imagined it being more perfect. Thanks. You know what? What? You're the most perfect person I ever met.
I can't imagine there were a plethora of movies in 1977 with 3 women in the lead.
But I didn't see it in 1977. I saw it probably in 1982.
Yeah.
Right? So I saw it just in some revival house. And I had made it all the way through the 70s as a kid, not seeing Nashville, not knowing who Robert Altman was, not knowing anything. So I go into this movie theater and I watch this movie with these 3 extraordinary actresses, right? And it's so weird. And it was the first time in my life I noticed a directorial point of view.
Right.
I was like, and I thought to myself, who made that? Who told that story? And then I saw the kind of style of acting and I was like, that's what I want to do. And so it was the thing that made me want to work in the movies and made me want to work with Bob. The fact that it actually happened.
That is extraordinary.
Oh, my God.
To be watching a film in 1982 and go, who made this? This is amazing. Mm-hmm. And then end up working on a movie like Shortcuts with Robert Altman. How did that come about? It
was crazy. He came to see a production of Uncle Vanya that I was doing here with Andre Gregory that was later made into a film by Louis Malle. But Bob came once. And so after that, he brought me in to talk to me about The Player. And I was just desperate. I was so desperate to work with him. And I didn't get cast. And I was devastated, like really devastated. Then I got a call, like, I don't know how much longer, it was a year or so, at home, like my phone rang, picked it up, and he said, "This is Bob Altman." And I thought someone was playing a trick on me because everybody knew how much I loved Robert Altman.
Right.
Everybody knew that's who I wanted to work with. And I'm like, no, come on. And he said, "I just want to talk to you about this movie. I hope you'll think about doing it." And I was like, "I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it." But everything about him, everything about how he saw actors, what he wanted from you, what he appreciated in you, how he saw the world, how human his people were, how flawed, but how much he cared about them, how it was always filled with so much sorrow, but so much possibility, a tremendous amount of humanity. It was always an ensemble, too, when you look at his worlds. There are lots of people. There's not one point of view. And I just admired him so much. But yeah, the fact that there was a straight line between like seeing that movie, having kind of a revelation about what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, and kind of following it through to completion, to actually being able to work with this person, that's really lucky.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily luck, because to a listener who's not perhaps as aware of the breadth of your career, it's not like you were sitting watching Three Women and then suddenly Robert Altman called. There's an entire career in the middle of that, because obviously your first big role on camera was in a soap opera, As the World Turns.
That's correct, yeah.
Your character lived quite the life.
Oh, she sure did.
Kidnapped, she had amnesia, discovered she had a half-sister who was also her cousin.
That's correct, yeah.
I think there is a snobbery towards actors in soaps, which I think is really unfair.
Exactly.
Right? And I say this quite a lot to friends of mine. I say all the time, I'm like, if you are good in a soap, there's a strong chance you're the best actor in the world. Honestly, because you don't have any time.
No time.
So you've got, you've been handed a script that day.
Right.
And you might be doing 7 different episodes, changing costumes, jumping from here to there. You are not lit the way that movies are lit. The set's lit, and you walk out and there is no time.
No time at all.
You're not working with Robert Altman, who's saying, the editors, all those things.
Yeah.
Do you look back on that time as instilling this work ethic in you?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, you have to be so prepared. I mean, you're probably reading the storyline 2 weeks ahead, right? That's when you get the storyline. But you're really only getting the scripts probably a couple of days ahead. So you're always sort of looking ahead to see, but you can only prepare the next day, the night before. That's when you're learning your lines. And you might be what they call front burner, which is that you'll have 30 pages of dialogue that day. And the dialogue, as you know, on soap opera is about plot. It's not about like feeling. You have to come in and say, "Hi, James. It's so nice to see you. The last time I saw you was in the hospital cafeteria when Bob had a heart attack. Do you remember that?" So you have to make that kind of stuff work because you're delivering this information to the audience all the time. So you have to find a way to kind of imbue it with feeling and humanity. And the actors that I worked with were amazing and worked so hard and cared a lot. But I had a great writer writing for me, a man named Douglas Marland, who was the person who kind of invented the Luke and Laura storyline on General Hospital.
Right.
Remember that? He was amazing, and he was the one who kind of spun all these stories about kidnapping and amnesia, and my half-sister, who was also my cousin, because that meant that we had the same dad, but our moms were sisters. Ew. Right?
Let's move on to your next selection, which is music.
Yeah.
I understand you found this one quite tricky, I was told.
I'm not a music person, and I hate saying that to you.
No, well, I'd never heard this song before, and I love it. So tell us the piece of music that you've picked.
All right, it's called Don't Pull Your Love Out, and the band is called Hamilton, Joe, Frank, and Reynolds.
Don't pull your love out on me, baby. If you do, then I think to maybe I'll just lay me down. Right for 100 years. Don't pull your love out on me, honey. Take my heart, my soul, my money. But don't leave me drowning in my tears.
I have to say, this weird name, Hamilton, Joe, Frank, and Reynolds. Hamilton is the last name of the first guy. Joe, Frank are the first 2 names of the second guy. And Reynolds is the last name of the third guy. And why?
Yeah.
Why would they do that? Hamilton, Joe Frank,
It should
and
just
Reynolds.
be Hamilton, Frank, and Reynolds, which honestly
Or-
is a better name.
I know, but also Joe Frank, because that's his first name. He's got a different last name. I don't know
Oh,
what
he's
it
Joe
is.
Frank something else.
Yeah, he's like Joe Frank something. Yeah, Joe Frank.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't pour your love out on me, baby. If you do, then I think that maybe I'll just lay me down, cry for 100 years.
I heard this song for the first time last night.
never heard it?
Why have you
Did you like it?
Yeah, I think it's great. It's a great vibe. Why have you picked this song?
So, like I said, I'm not, people always say, like, oh my God, what's your playlist, or who are you listening to, or who's your favorite artist, or whatever. And I always draw a blank. Like, I like to put the radio on in the car, you know, I like to have somebody else curate music. I'm not a curator of it. My son is a musician. He writes songs, he does scores. My husband loves music and plays the guitar. My daughter listens to a lot of music. I get overwhelmed. It can make me crazy. I just can't concentrate. It's like it takes over everything and then I can't think. So, and this is like a nutty song. And I thought, this is like this weird song. They were like a one-hit wonder. This is a song that came out when I was a kid. And I don't know what it is about it, but whenever I would hear it, I would be sure that I was going to be lucky.
Is there any evidence of this luck?
It was just like a good feeling. I'd be like, it's going to be a good day. And because the song was wildly popular and then completely disappeared and no one knows it, whenever I hear it randomly, like you'll just hear like a snippet of it or something, I'm like, hey, there's that song again. It's still out there. It's like a good vibe. I don't know. It was the horns. You know, it has
It is
that.
a great vibe.
It has that kind of like this sort of like brassy thing
Yeah.
that happens, and then it's just weird.
I wonder if they would even know that this has become such a four-leaf clover in your life. It's wonderful. I mean, you were in a musical. You were in Dear Evan Hansen
That's right,
a year
yeah.
or so ago. You do also sing in
Not
one
like
of my
you.
favorite movies
Yeah.
of all time. And if it's okay, I'd love to talk to you a little bit about Magnolia.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because Paul Thomas Anderson's film Magnolia, when you were shooting that movie, obviously you'd worked with him on Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Did you know that this film was going to be quite as brilliant as it was? Did you know it was going to be great?
Yeah, I did. I did. That's the way I feel about Paul, you know.
Yeah, he's extraordinary.
I think that, you know, the Boogie Nights kind of came to me. It was the same sort of thing. This kind of goes back to reading, right? This goes back to me loving to read and reading books and feeling like acting is sort of an extension of reading and recognizing material and why I read everything, you know, why I really try to see what's out there. Because I met Paul at a party. Somebody that I was going out with said, this guy really wants to meet you. And he says he's got a part for you in his movie. And I met him, and he was 26, and he was really fun and nice, and was like, you know, you're going to be in my movie, man. And I said, well, I have the script. I'll read the script. And I read the script, and I was like, oh, absolutely, I'm going to be in this. So I think I was the first person to sign on.
Your character in the film almost cloaked in regret.
Right.
And you go to some places in that movie, which I think, and if anyone's listening to this who hasn't seen it, I would urge you just to commit the time to go and watch it, because it holds up with every single minute. I saw the film twice in 2 days.
Did you really?
I watched it, and then I was in a musical in the West End at the time. It was one of my first ever jobs.
Wow.
I watched the film, and I came into London early again to watch it again before I did it. It felt like I'd never watched a film quite so bold as to have two openings. The film's got two openings, and they all burst into song later in the film. And it's amazing. What was it like working on the movie? And do you think you'll go back to work with him again?
Oh, God, I would work with him again in a heartbeat. I love him. I just think he's a major, major talent and a wonderful person. So, yes, absolutely.
And you've got some amazing moments with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to meet a couple of times. I was lucky enough to tell him that he was, you know, my favourite actor. And you have an incredible scene where you sort of hand him these pills and you say, I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. And it's drops, I think. It's drops that you give him medicine. What was he like to work with? What was he like on a film set?
Oh, he was amazing. In Magnolia, too, he was filled with so much compassion and patience and love and presence. And he was somebody who cared very, very deeply about his work. And I think about what it meant to people and how to kind of hold it all, right? How to hold what he was doing, how to hold what the other actor was doing, how to incorporate. I don't know. It was just, he was a very special actor, I think. And it was, you could feel his humanity when you worked with him. You could feel his presence and his depth of feeling and his sensitivity. He was extraordinarily sensitive. And Jason Robards at the time was older and was not particularly well. And so it was a strange concoction of characters and actions in that room.
And a strange concoction of cast, because then Tom Cruise turns up. It's an amazing film. I would urge anyone to go and seek it out.
Yeah, and then we all sing that song, right?
The Amy Mann's song.
Yeah.
You got what you want. You can hardly stand it though. By now you know it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop till you wise up.
You won the Academy Award for your role as Alice Howland in Still Alice. You won the Oscar, you won the BAFTA, the Golden Globe, the SAG Award, the Critics' Choice Movie Award. You went on one of those runs. And whenever I see people going on those awards runs, I always think this must be so overwhelming. The volume of anxiety that must come with just the pressure of it all the time. What was it like? What do you remember about that moment of just planes and dresses and red carpets and speeches? What do you remember about it?
You know what was hardest? Being by myself.
Yeah.
At the beginning, Kristen was there a lot for things. There were a couple of events that we did together, and I was so grateful. I just love her, Kristen Stewart, so much. But then a lot of the stuff that I was doing, I was by myself. And we didn't have anybody else from the film who was, sometimes films have a lot of people nominated, and so you kind of go in a little posse, but usually it was just me, and I'd end up at somebody else's table, and they were like, oh, here's the, odd man out or whatever. And that was hard. And there is that feeling of like, I don't know, it sounds so crazy, the expectation, I guess, when that kind of...
And the pressure of it, because I have a theory about awards now.
Yeah.
My theory on, say, the Oscars, for example, is that your prize, if you win Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, is that you will be handed your trophy in your seat and the other four people have to go up and make a speech. The prize should be that you don't have to speak in public.
Right?
Because the pressure now is crazy.
I know, it's crazy. And I remember too, it was really funny because I won everything throughout the season, which was really incredible and hard to believe for me. I got to the Oscars, and it's a long season, and you're sitting there, and somebody came over to me and they said, you're going to win tonight, or else it's going to be the biggest upset in Oscar history.
Oh, my God. Who would say that?
And I thought to myself,
say that out loud?
I know, but then I went, oh, I could be the biggest upset. I could be the biggest upset. And then you're just sitting there thinking, this is crazy. But also, it's just a silly thing, right?
How can there be such a thing as best?
There isn't such a thing as best.
You can't be the best song.
No. No, you can't.
Let's move to your fifth selection, which is person. Tell us the person that you've chosen.
I've chosen Charlotte Perriand, who's my absolutely favorite designer. She was French. She lived to be 99. She's somebody who was, I think when she was very young, she had a teacher noticed that she was talented and that she was gifted and encouraged her to study furniture design. And I don't know why. I was curious about that. I'm like, so if she was a gifted artist, why was she encouraged to study furniture design? But she was. And she went to school and did well. And then when she came out of school, there was this exhibition that she made that was kind of like a modern bar or something, I think, and it was in the 1920s. So it was sort of the beginning of the industrial age, right, where people starting to work with metals and different kind of materials. She wanted to get a job as a designer, so she went to Corbusier's studio, who was a major architect designer at the time, and she was told, we don't embroider cushions here. She's a woman. So they thought she was just, and so she went away and didn't get the job. But evidently Corbusier saw the exhibit that she made and was so impressed that he hired her. And she ended up working in his office with his cousin, Pierre Jeanneret, and they created these amazing pieces of furniture together, iconic designs of the 20th century. And then one of my big hobbies, one of my huge interests is design, furniture. And that's something that the older I get, the more and more interested I am in it. And she's someone who's so admirable because she also believed in design as a way for a better way of life, and that it should be an egalitarian pursuit and that be accessible to everyone. She actually even changed some of her materials because her materials were too expensive. She started working with wood and cane and things that were more easily available. Of course, the irony is that her pieces are a fortune today. You can't touch them, right?
Yeah.
When in reality...
It's so often the case.
I know. And in reality, they were meant for people who were just living in an apartment and wanted to have a beautiful table and bookshelves that worked. And, she's just a cool person.
What I love about you choosing Charlotte Perriand is essentially, her autobiography is called A Life of Creation. And I feel like even from us talking about libraries being your favourite place, this passion, this obsession with stories, with storytelling, and then that becoming storytellers, whether it's filmmakers, that you yourself have always sought to be around creative people, to search for them.
Yeah.
And we started our conversation with your Scottish connection, and we're going to finish there too. We asked you to pick an item
right
that has sentimental value in your life.
Yeah.
And what have you chosen for us?
My mother's locket. I don't want to cry again.
It's okay.
But I wore it because it's right here. So believe it or not, my father gave this to my mother when they were in high school. So it has an inscription on the back that says, "To Anne, love Pete." And the fact that they met in high school and married and had 3 kids and had a whole life. And, like I said, my mother died in 2009 and it was very sudden and it was really terrible. And it's nice to have something of hers that I wear all the time. And it's nice that it'll be something that I'll give to my daughter. And it's nice that it's something that I saw in her. And it's funny because even though I'm a lover of stuff, like I love furniture and I love jackets and I love ceramics and I love stuff, right? I'm not, at the end of the day, I'm like, well, I lost it. I lost that jacket, or I broke that pot, or I sold that sofa, or I gave those things that I don't want anymore, away. And I'm not attached, but I'm attached to this locket because I saw it on my mother all the time. So it's like I can still see it. I can see it on her body. It's one of the few things that I think it's nice to have. Sometimes it's nice to have evidence, evidence of a life.
What do you think you inherited from your mother?
Oh, God, everything. I think she was the one who, she was the one who taught me to read. So she was the one who said, you're ready for this book and you're ready for that book. And she was the one who, and with my father too, who said, you can do whatever you want to do. You just have to go to school and learn it. I think she was smarter than me. She was really, really smart. She was somebody who was very led by her intelligence, and I think didn't have the opportunities that she should have had, or the opportunities that I've had, because she was married so young and she lived in a different time. It wasn't. I think she made it very clear to us, to all of us, my sister, my brother, and I, that it's important for you to take your opportunities and to make sure to chase what you want to chase. And, she was very clear about that, about choose your life. Your life doesn't have to choose you. Oddly, I think it's interesting that I think I was so driven in my career in my 20s because my mother's had an insistence that I explore what I wanted to explore. And so I was like, well, I need to do this. And it wasn't until I was, like I said, in my early 30s when I was like, well, wait a minute, I have to do the other thing too. But I think she was the one that was like, choose it, choose yourself, do what you want to do.
Julianne Moore, thank you for sharing this life of yours. Oh, what a thrill.
Thank you so much. You're such a pleasure to talk to.
Next week, it's this.
Oh,
I'm Tom Ford, and welcome to This Life of Mine. There would be two guys having sex on the floor in front of a man and a woman in evening dress. You know, it was a completely free environment. I had no idea that he was gay. I had no idea gay people really existed.
Right.
It was like a film. I said, please, God, let something happen. And I went to the door, and there was this guy in a jacket and tie, and he said, hi, do you want to go to studio? And I heard the crash, and I thought, oh, God, he's fainted again. Okay, what are we going to have to do? And I went up, and his eyes were open, and there was an expression on his face, absolutely frozen. And then I immediately realized he was dead.
If you haven't subscribed to Lemonada Premium yet, now is the perfect time. You can listen to This Life of Mine completely ad-free. Plus, you'll unlock exclusive quickfire rounds of questions with all of my guests. They're all in 2 minutes or less. Just tap that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or head to lemonadapremium.com to subscribe on any other app. Or you can listen ad-free on Amazon Music with your Prime membership. That's lemonadapremium.com. Don't miss out.